Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a truly heartwarming tale of adventure, empathy, and, well, a little bit of magic. We're looking at the Crystal Snowflake and the gift of friendship. We're going to explore how one incredibly simple wish spirals into an epic, kingdom-saving quest. But more importantly, we're going to unpack the core message that's woven all throughout this wintry world. So let's jump right in. I want you to picture this scenario for just a second. If you were wandering around a dusty old antique shop and stumbled across a glowing snow globe, would you be brave enough to actually make a wish on it? Well, that is the exact situation our main character, a little girl named Sophie, finds herself in. Sophie lives in this super cozy village called Pinewood Hollow. And you have to understand, she doesn't just like winter, she absolutely lives for it. Building snowman, making snow angels, just watching the snowflakes fall, she's obsessed. And that deep, genuine love for the season makes her the absolute perfect person to stumble upon something truly extraordinary. And trust me, it is extraordinary. So one snowy afternoon, she's wandering through that old antique shop at the edge of town, and she spots this globe sitting quietly on a shelf. But it's not just some cheap, run-of-the-mill trinket. Tucked inside the glass is this tiny, sparkling castle, and it's completely surrounded by glittering snow. It's mesmerizing. I mean, you can hardly take your eyes off it. But what really grabs her attention isn't just the castle inside, it's a tiny little detail attached to the base. Attached to the snow globe is this simple silver tag, and it has these exact words etched into it. Shake gently and make a wish. Okay, let's dive into this, because this right here is the catalyst for everything that follows. Sophie is just bursting with curiosity, right? So she holds the snow globe close, and she whispers her deepest, most secret desire. And the cool thing is, she doesn't wish for a new toy or, a bicycle. She wishes for a real magical adventure. And then, doing exactly what the tag says, she gives it a gentle shake. Instantly, the magic kicks in. The snow globe starts to glow, getting brighter and brighter by the millisecond. And suddenly, swirl. A literal whirlwind of sparkling snowflakes bursts out and completely surrounds Sophie. It lifts her right up off the ground in this dazzling, overwhelming display of magic. When the snow finally clears and she opens her eyes, well, she definitely isn't standing in a dusty antique shop anymore. She has been pulled entirely inside the snow globe itself. She lands right in the middle of the breathtaking Winter Kingdom. We're talking shimmering ice castles, glowing northern lights, the whole shebang. But almost immediately, she realizes something is seriously wrong. The magic here, it's fading. Now, the way this story builds this world is super interesting, mostly thanks to a cheerful little snow fox named Frost, who bumps into Sophie right after she arrives. Frost explains that the kingdom is powered by a magical treasure known as the Crystal Snowflake. It literally radiates the winter magic that keeps the realm alive. The problem? You guessed it. The snowflake has completely disappeared. Frost lays down the cold, hard facts for Sophie, and honestly, the stakes could not be higher. He explains that without this artifact, their whole ecosystem is going to collapse. The snow would literally just stop falling. Those gorgeous ice castles we talked about, they'd melt into puddles. Ultimately, the entire Winter Kingdom would just disappear forever. It's a massive, ticking clock crisis, and time is running out fast. So faced with the total destruction of this incredible, magical world, Sophie knows exactly what she has to do. She has to step up. She has to help them. And this is where we transition straight into the main adventure. The quest is officially on. But look, finding a lost, super powerful artifact across an entire kingdom isn't exactly a solo mission for a little girl. She's gonna need a crew. She needs to gather some local allies to help save the kingdom. Luckily, she manages to recruit an absolute dream team in record time. First up, we've got Penny the Penguin, bringing her own unique, quick-thinking skills. Then there's Blizzard the Reindeer, offering up some serious strength and speed. And rounding out the crew is Aurora the Snow Owl, who provides the ultimate eye-in-the-sky vantage point. Together, this energetic ragtag group sets off to find the missing magic. Let's move to and see how this builds, because their journey across this kingdom is nothing short of epic. It plays out in 4 major perilous steps. First, they have to carefully cross the frozen Rainbow Bridge. Then, they navigate deep into the glittering ice caves. After that, it's a high-speed ride on snow sleds straight across the massive valley of snowflakes. All of this pushing them toward their final, ultimate destination, the towering Mountain of Wishes. Finally, after that intense trek, they summit the mountain. And waiting for them at the very top is just a magnificent sight. An enormous crystal tree made entirely out of solid ice. But the tree isn't what's important. Right there, Sitting quietly beneath its sparkling branches, they spot exactly what they've been searching for: the missing crystal snowflake. Now, if you've ever read a fantasy story, you're probably expecting some terrifying, power-hungry villain to jump out and guard the treasure, right? Well, actually, scratch that. The narrative pulls a brilliant 180-degree flip on our expectations here. It trades conflict for empathy. Because the snowflake isn't being hoarded by a villainous thief, it's being watched over by a tiny, lonely little polar bear named Snowball. He isn't trying to destroy the kingdom at all. He's literally just guarding the snowflake. All that intense, perilous quest tension, it just completely evaporates the second we hear Snowball's side of the story. It's totally heart-wrenching. He looks at them and confesses, "I borrowed it because I wanted someone to play with me." He wasn't acting out of greed or malice. He was just profoundly, incredibly lonely. He honestly thought that if he had the magical snowflake, it might somehow magically conjure up the one thing he wanted most: a friend. How Sophie responds here is absolutely crucial. Think about it. She doesn't get mad, she doesn't yell at him for almost melting the entire kingdom, and she definitely doesn't just snatch the snowflake and run. Instead, she smiles this warm, genuine smile and tackles the root of his sadness with pure kindness. She just gently tells him, you don't need a magical snowflake to make friends. And the best part? Sophie's new friends don't miss a beat. They instantly follow her lead, stepping right up to make Snowball feel seen and included. Penny the penguin chimes in, saying, "We'd love to play with you." Blizzard enthusiastically stomps his hooves and adds, "You can join all our adventures." And Aurora spreads her wings out, assuring him, "You'll never be alone again." And you can just imagine. Hearing all this, little Snowball's eyes just light up and sparkle with pure joy. So, with his heart full and his loneliness officially a thing of the past, Snowball happily tags along as the group heads all the way back to the Winter Castle to return the crystal snowflake. They walk in, and the very second that magical artifact is gently placed back onto its rightful crystal stand, boom! A massive, explosive wave of magic just erupts outward. You can literally feel the energy of the entire kingdom reigniting in a flash. And this brilliantly illustrates the night and day transformation that sweeps over the realm. The contrast is just stunning. Remember what we were looking at without the snowflake? Melting ice castles, fading magic, the whole place on the verge of disappearing. But now, with the magic restored, the snow is joyfully dancing through the sky again. The castles are sparkling brighter than ever, and those vibrant, glowing northern lights are back in full force. The kingdom is completely alive. To celebrate this massive victory, and of course to welcome their brand new friend, Snowball, the entire kingdom throws this massive, joyous, grand winter festival. It is a spectacular night of celebration. But eventually, the night ends, and the very next morning, Sophie wakes up. But she's not in an ice castle. She's right back in her own cozy bed in Pinewood Hollow. She sits up, rubs her eyes, and has that classic moment of thinking, wow, was that all just one crazy, vivid dream? But then she glances over at her nightstand, and right there, sitting right next to the antique snow globe, is a token of proof. It's a tiny, real crystal snowflake. It's the ultimate physical evidence that her wild journey, the Winter Kingdom, Frost, Penny, Blizzard, Aurora, and her sweet new friend Snowball, it wasn't a dream at all. It was 100% real. Which brings us right to the core takeaway of today's explainer. Sophie's adventure with the snow globe is incredibly fun and entertaining, sure, but it is driven by a surprisingly deep central lesson. The moral of the story is beautifully simple. The greatest, most powerful gift in the world isn't literal glowing magic, it's friendship. Let's actually break down what that means into a few actionable takeaways for our own day-to-day lives. Because the true power of friendship, exactly like Sophie and her crew showed us, comes down to choices. We need to actively look out for and include others, especially the people who might be sitting on the sidelines feeling lonely, just like Snowball was. We have to choose to show kindness rather than jumping straight to judgment. Because when we do that, we make people feel welcome and we make them feel loved. Honestly, that is the real magic that keeps a community thriving. So, as we wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with one final, totally real question. Who can you share the gift of friendship with today? Is there someone in your life right now, maybe someone acting a little difficult simply because they're lonely, who just needs a kind word, who just needs a simple invitation to join the adventure? Give it some thought, and then let's get out there and make some magic of our own. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. And as always, keep learning.
For more interesting videos, subscribe our YouTube channel